Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Pascal, and I am a member of the SOUG board since March of this year. Today, I will accompany and moderate this stream here, and we are very happy to have you all with us and to welcome also great speakers with very interesting topics. Our first speaker today is Martin Berger from Trivadis. Martin is a DevOps architect and engineer and a cloud enthusiast. He will give us some insights in a customer project where they built a modern database as a service environment. But I will not get any longer because we need the time for Martin. He is the main person. So let me hand over the microphone and camera to him. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Pascal, for the introduction. Welcome, everybody, to the first presentation in Stream 3. We will talk about the customer experience, how to build this modern database as a service. And we want to see how we put some components together. There are components like Ansible, private cloud appliance, ZFS appliance, etc. This project we are working in is for a Swiss customer and is still ongoing. And we will see what we now have done today and how we did it first. So let's start here. This is just some words about Trivadis. For that, we have 15 workspaces around Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Romania. For that, we have over 4,000 training participants per year. And now at the moment, we are about 700 employees which are working in different topics, not only in Oracle database topics, also Microsoft technologies, open source technologies. And my passion, beside build some modern database platforms, the Oracle Cloud infrastructure for that. And as you see, this presentation, this is one of the 1,900 projects what we are doing each year. These are the experience from that. This is our Trivadis slogan. We want to make a world possible which intelligent IT facilitates life and work as a matter of course. And the part of this slogan is intelligent IT, and which wants to make our life easier and to build a modern data platform which runs automated, which runs fully automated, which is fault tolerant, is one part of it. We remember the good old times when a developer or an application owner comes to us, to a database administrator, hey, give me one database. I need an Oracle database and I need it tomorrow, or no, give it today, or no, in 2 minutes. And at this today, is it possible to solve that issues, to build self-ordering systems, to build self-healing systems, etc., so that everybody is happy in our company. About me, some words. Yeah, this is a nice word. This is called platform architect. For that, I work over 12 or 13 years for Trivadis. And for that, I live in Kestenholz. This is a small village in Jura-Südfuss, in the middle of Switzerland. And at home, beside my company, I have 2 junior database administrators. At the moment, they are at school, so this is why it is so quiet in my home office. And you can see here the Trivadis cultural values. This is really my passion. This is really the slogans or the values for me. Curiosity, I'm a doer, I like networking. I need some space. I need some space. For example, in this Corona time, why not working in the evening project when everybody sleeps? And in the next day, in the afternoon, you can do something with your family. And at the end, together, we need teams, we need colleagues, we need friends to work together. Feel free to follow me. I'm on Twitter, Martin Berger _CH, or I'm blogging sometimes, mostly time about Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So far, let's talk about what we want to talk about here in the next minutes here in this first slot. What is our running mission? We will talk about data platforms, some requirements about data platforms. I will present you the technologies, what we are using in this project, and each technology use skills. We will learn about workflows. What is a workflow? How we implement it. We will talk about the background. It's not only hacking. It's not only hacking to build a database platform. It's also a project. The project has to be managed. The project has to be steered. We want to learn a new method. And at the end, this is a final session, we want to talk about lessons learned. In the last weeks, in the last month, we got a huge experience, what has happened or what does not work when we want to build such data platforms. It's like you open a box, and inside this box sometimes are 10 other small boxes with other issues for that. And now the challenge is to close each boxes that the problem can be solved. Yeah, we talk about our missions here. Our mission is, you can see on the left, the order is clear from the customer. Build a database as a service solution. The hardware is fixed. You use an Oracle hardware stack. You have to integrate it because we have already a running offering. We have already a running database as a service on other systems. Then at the end, you run it. So don't just build it and go away. You have to run it, and hey, you are part of us. You are part of our company. You are part from the beginning, from the first planning session until the operating. You are part of the company with all our tools, what we are using, with all our colleagues which are working in this company. And at the end, it's an Agile project. Agile, we will see that later, means every 2-3 weeks, we have new functions. And we have to present new functions. Sometimes they are driven from ourselves to extend technology, but mostly times they are driven from customer requirements, which we have to implement. Maybe you know that, you know this 8 from dev to ops. This is a step what I did in the last year because I was a former database administrator. I loved to work on my hardware. I loved to work on my database. And in this project, I have moved in another role. I do some development tasks, but I have to take care about operation. This is one first point what I want to give to you. If you want to build such database platforms, it's not about development. Talk about the development phase. How do you want to operate it later? It makes it much easier just to implement some, how did I did it? Fault-tolerant solutions in the development. Then later in the operations, you run into many problems. This is a never-ending story. This is called development. This is called Agile development for that. And we live that every day from build, code, plan, test, and we start from scratch. And this is really my first lesson, what I have learned. Developers are your friends. Why developers are your friends? Not only they have really cool tools to work with databases, to work with some front ends. This is teamwork here. To build such a platform, it's not only one guy work on the appliance, one guy programs some stuff in the Oracle Service Bus, etc. This is team, and in the meantime, the former database administrator, as I was, I have taken some tasks. I did some development tasks, Oracle or the Service Bus restarting, analyze Service Bus topics, etc. And not only, hey, you are the developer, it's your turn. No, we work together, we are one team. And this is what I will ask to you. Do you have friends which are developers too? If yes, be nice to them. Maybe in a future project, they can be part of your team. We talk about some requirements to a database platform. This is not the final list. The list can be extended with multiple values. But from a customer perspective, hey, it has to be high available. Because the database service has to be run 7/24. I don't like downtimes. The customer has to get easy access. For that, not a lot of configuration stuff. From customer side, it has to be secure for that, because if it's a database service, we have to be sure that it's fully secured. And at the end, it has to be cost efficient for that. For example, pay per hour, pay per minute, pay per vCPU, pay per shape, or what all these models are, which are available in the cloud. The customer needs support. Hey, I cannot connect, or my database has some performance issues. Please take care. And we need to be license compliant. Here we talk about who brings the advanced security option into the boat. Who brings a compression option to the boat? Is it the customer who has this license, or is it included in the price list for that? And there are a lot of discussions up and running, and you have to fulfill some license compliance from Oracle. For example, you have to take care about a standard edition 2 and how you configure virtual machines on a private cloud appliance. From operation side, sure, easy troubleshooting. Easy troubleshooting, in this case, that means that you have the tools. You need to have the tools that when the customer tells you, hey, something is going wrong, that you may help in a short time. The operation also, the platform has to be fault tolerance. If it means from our perspective, when you order a database and wherever in a step it fails, for example, there were some network issues in a data center, then it has to be cleaned up, and B, it has to be restarted, that you have the possibility to restart your action. And finally, when you build a platform, all these hundreds and thousands of components which are included in such a project has to be monitored. And there we have to think about a slide before in this DevOps roles. Maybe the Oracle Enterprise Manager is not the holy grail for all monitoring issues. Maybe you have to add a second monitoring platform. This is what we did in this project. We see that later. Yeah, security. We talk here about some topics for that. The first question was, is the service, should the container database in the modern multi-tenant architecture be accessible by a customer? That means very deep connection permissions for that. At the moment in our project where we are today, at the 28th of May, no, but the discussion is ongoing. The customer can order a pluggable database where we can work in. We talk about PDB permissions, what everybody can do. Oracle has introduced this PDB lockdown profiles, which are in use. Then we watch about how can a customer attach some NFS for file sharing. For that, there's also an Oracle solution available. We use this path prefix variables, and we use OS directory permissions. Java is also a hot topic. Java at the moment for a pluggable database, we are allowing it, but the discussion is still ongoing. A lot of people say, oh, Java in the database is a security issue, and there are some DBAs who say, hey, my release update goes longer, but this is not really the issue. We talk here about security. This is what one of the critical mission points when you build a service which we can use by many other customers too. The database has to be secure. For data encryption, there is also an Oracle solution available, for example, transparent data encryption, advanced network or the native network encryption, etc., which can be used. Password handling, a never-ending story, but there are vault token possibilities, etc. And also for a cloud service, there's no directly SSH login allowed. We use SSH keys, but these are the basic steps. And at the end, patching. We provide a patch as soon as possible and test it in our environment that the customer can order a new database or can apply a patch. Some hardware stuff, nice hardware stuff, what we have put it in the data center. There are in the totally 4 private cloud appliance machines. For that, 2 for production and 2 for development and integration. For that, in the background running 0 data loss appliance. For that, they are located each in 2 data centers all over or across Switzerland. For that, and this is also one point what you have to consider. And these 2 data centers, sure, they are connected from company side, but how can a private cloud appliance connect to another private cloud appliance in the data center? It's not done with just plug it in the rack or in the data center. Or the whole network team has to do a lot of stuff in the background that everything works together. But this is what I like in this project. It's agile, it's networking, it's working together, and so we can bring the project forward. Tools, what are used? An automation platform from VMware, we realize. We talk about the connection point broker. Connection point broker is an infrastructure which is implemented on the customer side. The connection point broker is required to create the connections between data centers. When a virtual machine is started in data center A, that he can connect, for example, with DataGuard to the virtual machine in data center B. A broker is implemented, the Ansible Tower. Here, Ansible Tower is the automation workflow what we are using in this project. Why we use Ansible Tower? I told it at the beginning, there is already a database as a service running at this customer, and they have already Ansible Tower implemented. So when the technology is up and running, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. For monitoring, we use Insinga and Oracle Enterprise Manager up and running. Ops Genie is what we used for alerting for our operation team. And in the back, Postgres, Oracle VM, and a lot of tools. In the meantime, I like Visual Studio Code, etc. A lot of tools are running. And for all these tools, or no, this one's later. And at the end here, you are part of a huge ecosystem. This is not only done with, hey, my database is up and running and I can connect. It's a service. It's a service which the company wants to offer to other customers. And there is not only the network as ecosystem. Billing is a much important point. You have to run or you have to build an availability reporting, then network accessing, auditing first against internal positions, but also auditing from customer perspective. And this is a huge challenge every day to bring all these points together for that. But we'll see later in a slide which methods this customer is using to bring all these parts. This is our approach. Basically, from the top on the left corner, the customer orders a database in a front end or via in the API. In the background, this connection point broker creates the connections between the 2 data centers that they are connected. It handles over to a service bus to all this request handling. In the back is Tower and a Postgres database running. And some minutes later, the virtual machines are provided, provisioned, the storage is attached, and some minutes later, the customer can connect to a database. This is the basic approach. This is really a simple overview for that. And to fulfill this overview, you need a lot of skills. Your team needs a lot of skills. The method which is implemented is Safe Scale Agile framework. This is, as we see, it is a facto standard for how work development or how is working development teams together. It's called SAFE. The product manager and the owner, which are the driver, which has the overview. But you need some network colleagues. You need Postgres SQL. This is, I tell you later why we need Postgres here. You need some stuff for the engineered system. You need some stuff for monitoring. But this is what we live in an agile team. Why not the database or the operations guide, which works for operation? why should he not learn how to patch a private cloud appliance so that this know-how can be shared? This is an important thing in such teamwork. Share your know-how. Yeah, just an example from a front end in a browser interface. The customer here orders the database. For that, there are some steps like how did we call them a plan? A plan is, should it be a single instance or a standalone, or should it be a data guard environment? How many vCPUs should be used for that? Which version? Should it all have already attached a backup with the zero data loss appliance? In which network range, which IP ranges are used? This is what the customer in a front end can use. This also, what you see here, can be controlled or can be ordered by an API. There's also in the background an API provided. Maybe you have a customer which have already a front end running to order databases. Then you can use the API from this customer to order databases. Why do we use here on the bottom, or why do we already reserve 2 IP addresses or 2 IP address ranges when he just order 1 database? This is for further procedure. Maybe later he decides to order data guard. He wants to extend his single installation to a data guard, and then the connection points are already created, the VLANs are already created, the interfaces are ready, that the second machine can be ramped up. Ansible is our tool. Ansible Tower is our tool to extend or to execute workflows. A workflow is what you see here. For example, on the left side, we set some variables to query in a Postgres database. And on the right side, it goes on. This is top here, where the process goes on. Or if it's failed, you write here in a log file for that. A workflow, step by step, is based on this, are called job templates. A job template maybe can be, hey, create an Oracle virtual machine, or a job template can be activate a new audit table space on a pluggable database, or set a PDB lockdown profile. Bring it all together. Bring it all together, all the hardware stuff, bring the software stuff together, and you see here in an overview where these things happen. For example, the connection on the top of the left, this is a CP broker stuff for that, but then it handles over this broker. We need a machine, we need as a service, we need which virtual machine name can be used, on which data center it should be provided, which private cloud appliance, remember we have 2 of them, which private cloud appliance the machine should be developed. Then we handled over to the OVM, to the Oracle virtual layer on the private cloud appliance to create VLANs, to create virtual machines. We hand over to an appliance, we hand over to the Oracle Linux inside the VM. Until the end, we have the backup activated for that. And maybe you decide to want to run up a data guard system. For that, there are other steps which are executed. All of these steps, what you see here, they are called workflows. They are called job templates. And we see some slide later, for example, what is the content of this. That we can handle all these workflows. In the meantime, yeah, I don't know how much workflows are there, but they are growing. Each week when we implement new feature, new workflows are implemented for sure. And I have started to create I call them Swimlanes. And I told them, for example, a tool like Draw.io to see where it happens. As an Ansible job template. And I want to see first what is executed and where does it run. For example, on the left, on the bottom on the left, there's a metadata Postgres database. And they say here, the job template, yeah, it's some cryptic, but it's called, this is the Postgres database which run SQL, and we want to find out the CDB PDB execution plan called by an service bus ID. This runs on the metadata Postgres server, and this makes it easier to understand where it happens. And it makes also easier to ramp up our new colleagues. Some months ago, we got new colleagues which want to do operation. How to tell them how it works, how to tell them what we are doing. This works, these swim lane pictures, they helped us a lot. And here on the left, on the right side, you see which steps are done. For example, we create a PDB, and if you create the PDB, for example, you have to restore it on the other side when you create it by archive. And finally, for me, we planned in some time for optimization for that. Just print out these swim lanes and with your colleagues talk about, is this step really necessary? Can this step combined with another step? Can it execute it parallel to save some time? As you see a slide before, we are at the moment about 27 minutes for that, but this is not my approach. My approach is finally to bring that under 20 minutes to provide such a machine. And as I said, the swim lanes helps us to understand where we do. Yeah, and then we use some really nice Oracle features. For sure, it's an Oracle platform. We want to use the full power of these Oracle features. This is a simple Airman duplicate from a backup, because every time create a new database from scratch, this uses too much time until all this package, etc., are compiled and built. We use a backup from a master database, and we locate it on NFS share. And at the end, all we did is a duplicate database from a backup location. And the database will be done in some minutes until it's provided. Sure, if you do that from a backup, there are some post steps, like the temp files are not in the right location, what you want, for example, but this can be handled easier. Just create another job template, create an Ansible playbook, and do it. Also, a feature what we use, it was a requirement from customer side that customers don't only have RL32 databases up and running. Oracle has the possibility to plug in PDBs with different character sets when the container database is an RL32 database from a character set, but you have to do it as a PDB archive to plug in. PDB archives are at the moment not provisioned on the standby side. That means that you provide or you plug in on the primary side this PDB, you have to restore it on the standby. But as I said, step before, hey guys, it's a job template in Ansible, it's a playbook, just do it. And at the bottom you see here that we have, oops, for example, this here, and with all these job templates and with this Ansible playbook things, we are able to fulfill our requirements. Maybe as we are talking about in some forums or in our colleagues, maybe in Oracle 20C, it will be possible if you plug in a PDB archive, but I don't know if it's implemented until 20C. Fact is, we have 90C, we have to run with all this version provides, and we restore and recover it on a standby side. As a service, the service needs a central database with all the information stored. We have implemented, we call them a metadata database based on Postgres, and all this stuff what we are doing is located in this pluggable database name. For example, when my job template needs a new virtual machine name, he asks the metadata database, for example, with this function, VM name by OSB service instance ID. This function, this Postgres function, gives me back a new virtual machine name, which can be used later for create virtual machine, to connect to it, to prepare the OS on the virtual machine. And in the meantime, there's a huge of stuff stored in. Also, path variables can be stored, or VLAN numbers. And why this metadata database is the key. At the moment, we are ramping up an internal monitoring tool to show to our operation team, which machines are provided, who is the owner of the machine, etc. The design of the metadata database is really important. Do that from the beginning and do it right. In our team, we have Rolly Stenemann, which is Trivadis Postgres expert. Thanks to him, he builds up some famous metadata database tables. And this is Agile. Yesterday evening, it was 10 p.m. I'm working on a new job template to change vCPUs on a OVM. And I tell him, hey, I need a new function. I need a new variable for my workbook or for my playbooks. Oh, wait, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes later on the development stage, just try it out. Agile development at its best, what I never have toughed before him. This also, we have a plan. The plan means this is an output from a query. This is an output from this metadata database. And this vars, this is a variable file which is located on Ansible Tower. And these variables can be used in, this is called in this playbook processing. For example, here are some CDB data file directions. We talk about an Oracle base. And in future, maybe we decide, hey guys, Oracle base is not U01. We tell that to /opt. No problem. Just change in the metadata database this variable for Oracle base. And all future installations will be located in /opt for that. This is a plan, this is a file. This file also helps our operation team to find out what has happened, who has deployed, where is it deployed for that. An example playbook to enable flashback, as we see. And this variables in these red brackets, what you can see here, they are these variables. They are variables what we got from Postgres functions, or we got from this vars file what we have created. In this example, alter database flashback on is the command. And for example, we want to register them if it works, and it should run on a primary host, and if available, it should run on the standby host. This is the further processing. This is how this metadata database is used to find out what is the database name, to see is a CDB name free, is the machine free, which machine has the capacity to locate my virtual machine. Nothing else here in this repository. Everybody who is coding hopefully has a repository up and running. Here we can use the customer's repository to work with this, to work with all this code. Tell to your team that they should check in everybody or everything. Everybody should check in here, everything. But take care, secrets, tokens, and passwords, they are not really useful in the Git repository. This repository here can also be visited by other colleagues in the company. As I said, avoid password, secrets, and tokens, but there's a nice git ignore file what you can configure so that you can avoid it. And if you code, why not ask your colleague to do a review and tell him, hey, verify my code, search for some tokens, search for some passwords, and search for some secrets. This company, what we are using for this is called the Skate Agile framework. Maybe somebody of you have already listened about Skate Agile framework. Is, yeah, they told them themselves that they are the de facto standard for development. We talk about working in teams. We are talking about this is called Agile release trains. We are talking about working between different teams. And the Scaled Agile framework helps us to bring all these teams together, from the NFS guys to the front-end guys, to the data center people, etc. The Scaled Agile framework tells us who is working at which project. It is really it provides a big transparency that everybody can see who is working at which topic. And in the background, to handle all the stories epics, whatever it uses to implement a feature, implement a function, to fulfill a customer requirement, we are using Jira in the back. For example, on the bottom in the screenshot here, you see a simple story. We use a playbook which verifies the VLAN exists on both. Thanks, Thomas. Oh, thanks, Pascal. Stage concept. For that, we use a different stage concept from development about integration stage to the master. That means from the development to the integration, there are 2 weeks iterations for that. And we have for every stage all the components what we need. We have front ends, we have for each stage a metadata database, we have for each stage monitoring, we have for each stage VMware, etc., virtual machines. And this fulfills this continuous delivery pipeline, which is also part of this Skate Agile framework. The deployment goes on. The deployment goes on and on and on and on. And in the back, things, or the stuff which is already done, which works, is implemented to the next level. Every 2 weeks, in a Thursday, we bring all these people together, and then we develop to the next stages. Yeah, dev means dev. Developments means development. This can happen. This can happen on a development environment, and tell your colleagues or tell all your guys in the team, hey guys, we are on a development system. We are for sure. It's angry when you develop on a virtual machine and then the next day it's not available, but this can happen. Maybe a developed cleanup job, a developed failed cleanup job for a machine, that some things which were done or which were here yesterday are not available today. For that. So tell them, hey guy, no, don't whine. I create a new machine for you. I create a new virtual machine for you, a new database. Work together, and at the end, you can laugh together, and you don't need any, as I said, Nasstüchli. Talk about lessons learned in this project until today. First, use Oracle managed features, use Oracle managed files for cloning, restoring, etc. Don't try to implement all own file system structures from U01 until U05. For that, all future topics like cloning, like build data guard stand-ups, standby databases are doing much easier. Stage concept is really important for that. Without a stage concept, you have already to develop on the production system. This is absolutely no-go. From small to big is okay. We have started. We have started with one playbook which has contained, hey, create a virtual machine, and then we have extended it from iteration to iteration, from PI planning to from PI planning. But at the end, keep the big picture in mind. Keep the goal in mind. The goal is a database service with the all-include happy package. When you talk about Ansible jobs, when you write Ansible jobs or whatever, shell scripts, shell jobs, whatever you are programming, be sure or take care that they are restartable if they are failed, that the people can press the button again. Everything, steps which are failed are cleaned up, and it will start it again for that. Failed provisioning jobs, implement automatically jobs which are cleaning up. It is at the beginning of the project, it was very angry. We have provided new virtual machines. Hey, the VLANs are still here, connection points are still here. And in the meantime, we have implemented nice cleanup jobs, which are doing that for us. For example, maybe a job work, a job chain can be failed at 99%. So what we are doing now, are we rolling back only this step which is failed? Are we rolling back the whole step and we start from scratch? For that, plan it and talk in teams how you want to handle it. And sure, time for review must be agile. This is what I say. I open a box, and inside this box are 10 boxes, and in these 10 boxes are next boxes. For that, yeah, learn. We have learned a lot in the last days, not only with Oracle features and not only with Oracle topics. Also, for example, at the beginning, we had some hardware issues. We had disk outage on a private cloud appliance. And now in the meantime, how we know how to handle it. The Oracle service, the field engineers know how to handle it with us. In the meantime, yeah, we know everybody knows everybody who is involved. And at the end, this is much more, this is a really important tool. Open your mind. Be open for ideas from your colleague, be open for new tools. Sure, you have to follow your plan. You have to create a database service, but at the end, be open. And finally, this is what I can see. This is what I see for all the guys in my team, and this makes me really happy. We do it with passion. Passion does not mean you have to code 24 hours per day. Passion means that what you are doing, do it right. Today's status of the project: CDB, PDB provisioning, modification is done. The operation readiness, we are still ongoing because there are some colleagues are still onboarding, but we have implemented a lot of stuff in the list. And this is my personal learning curve since the project starts. You see here really big start from DBA to DevOps in a few weeks to understand how scaled Agile framework works for that. And this is to say, hey, 1 year ago, I have typed in select star from Dual, and now I'm really creating cool stuff with cool colleagues for that. And we have a great team which has grown together. Thanks. Now, as Pascal told me, now we have maximum 5 minutes, and then my colleague Stefan Oerli is ready for the next presentation, which starts at 9. Pascal.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Martin. Does anybody have a question? You can raise your hand clicking on the little symbol down on your screen, and then we will give you the opportunity to talk and to ask your question. And we ask you to introduce yourself by name and last name and company and what you are doing. Very, very, very short. So questions, raise your hand.
Otherwise, we have seen, I know, Pascal, the slides will be available later online. Then you can see my coordinates. Feel free to send me an email. Feel free to contact me via LinkedIn, Twitter, or my homepage for that if you have questions about this really interesting project.
Yes, we will publish the slides, and also the video of this session will be published on YouTube, and you will get a link of that.
No questions? So everybody is starting and ramping up an Ansible Tower development environment today?
We have two persons, Anastasia Sotnikova. Can you give her the right to speak, Matthias?
Speak up, you should be enabled.
It's you have enabled the Bastianello, but it would be Anastasia.
Ah, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Anastasia Sotnikova, as you pronounce really well. I am a DBA, Oracle DBA, who is now working, we are also now working with Ansible, so we are slowly transforming ourselves, as Martin said, from selected tool from writing playbooks. And I'm ex-colleague of Flora, so we used to work together. And I have a question about Tower and its Postgres SQL database. My question is whether did you need to do, Martin, anything to maintain this database of the Tower? Because your environment is quite big, I think, and we are also wondering whether we need to do something special about this Postgres SQL database, or does it behave itself very well and we don't need to touch it?
No, what we did on the Tower database, we are at the moment at over 500,000 runs, and all this job overview fields, etc., were running very slowly.
Okay.
And we use this, already implement these cleanup jobs, which are included in the tower. And just take care as a tip, if you clean up your repository, you have to restart the tower until it works. So clean up the repository job is okay, but at the end restart your tower, then it will be going much faster when you have a huge of jobs which we're running.
Okay. Well, I don't know yet how many jobs we will be running, but thank you. We will look into that.
We have a question in the question and answer, Pascal. Have you tried PDB cloning instead of the Herman duplicate? We use Herman duplicate for the container database provisioning. Cesar Ferreira, can you tell me what you mean, PDB cloning? Because we need PDB archives for plugin, and we need Herman duplicate for CDB. Just to talk about the difference. You can type it in the chat or in the Q&A. Okay, we wait some seconds. Oh, there's a bird in the background, huh?
Okay, we have one question from Tobias Rö as well, who raised his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Martin, can you give him the right to speak? Matthias, sorry.
Otherwise, just now he's coming.
Yep.
He's coming up.
Cool.
Tobias, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Tobias.
Works, huh? Tobias Rötlisberger from SBB Informatics. Yeah, responsible for all DB platforms in the SBB. My question was, do you have plans to roll out this procedure for other database, for other types of database, for example, Postgres or MariaDB?
At the moment, we are focused to roll out or to bring this Oracle database service to the market for that. But I don't know if there is planned for future also for PostgresDB. I know they have already such a service up and running, but not on this architect or not on this architecture. This customer has also, for example, SQL Server as a service, Postgres as a service. I'm not sure, but they have other technologies up and running. But no, this platform here is only for the Oracle database service.
Yes, I understood. But the main idea would be suitable for every technology.
Yes,
I mean,
the main idea to have a metadata database. You have a tower and you have a workflow infrastructure. You have a metadata database. Yes, for sure. We are already in contact with other customers which are interested in such an architecture solution.
Okay,
Maybe.
thank you.
Okay, so we have to stop. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending this session. Thank you very much, Martin, for this interesting presentation. So if you want to change the channel now, you've got the email yesterday or a few days before from Irene. So you can choose, you can quit this session and choose the other link to join another session, or you can, of course, stay here for the next presentation. Thank you very much.